Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Harmony Stitches and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitch with some knitting and crochet thrown in. It's been, I think, 4 weeks since I came to you last, maybe just 3, with Christmas on the day that I normally record. It wasn't possible for me to come and join you for another video. So today is going to be a small catch up from what was happening between the videos and then my WIP parade to commemorate the start of a new year. Today is January 2nd. I did try to record yesterday, but I had technical difficulties, of course. So I'm a little late, but we'll do this anyways. And with that being said, I thank you for joining me for my video because I know that there's a lot of videos out there that you could be watching. So if you subscribe or just come back every now and again, I thank you for taking time out of your day to join me. So we'll start with I think it's the only purchase that I had, and it's from the sock club that I joined a couple months ago. I got my December installment. I got color 1102, which is a green blue, and there's some yellow and gray in there, and color 1112. Wait, are they the same? 1102 and 1112, and this is pinks and purples. Okay, so I got those, and I think I'm going to work these into Musselburgh hats. There's 440 yards, so I think they'll work fine. For Christmas, my family did get me some I think 3 packs of 18 count Ada white and a pack of Q-snaps at 8-inch and 11-inch and a chart, which is somewhere around here. I don't even know where I put it at this point. It's safekeeping somewhere, but you know how that goes. So I did get a couple of things. My time, the time that in between videos here, from the last video to this one, I didn't actually do much. I did stitch some more on Folk Art Christmas, which I will show you when it comes up. I'll keep it in order. And then the only other thing that I did was crochet some more of those snowflake star things with the crochet cotton with the sparkle in it. That's the only thing that I did, except for, let's see, on New Year's Eve, I was going to attempt the 12 by 12, work on one WIP every hour from noon to midnight. Things got derailed with that, so I have a couple there, and I have since I recorded this yesterday, I've since organized my WIPs, and so I will try to remember to tell you which ones I worked on as we go. And then starting January 1st, I started off with my plans. So my plan is to get the Super Mario Brothers 3 World 1 chart done by the end of the year. So that is my focus every single month when it rolls from calendar page to calendar page. So I'm working on that. I need to get 1,841 stitches in on average every month to finish by the end of the year. So I started that January 1. When I'm done with that, I'm going to hop over to WIP Go. And I put 25 different projects on my WIP Go board. And not all of them can reach completion, but I think a lot of them can. So let's go ahead and get started and show you the projects that don't have any current plans. Then we'll go into WIP Go, then we'll go into the full coverage, okay? The first one is Bittersweet Trio by Waxing Moon Designs. I did work on this for about 25 minutes during 12 by 12. I am missing DMC 581. So it took me a while to get started just because I didn't know where I could go. So this is my overall progress so far. This is stitched on 28 count Dove Gray Monaco that I coffee tea dyed. And I focused in on the squirrel section. I put the white on in his ear and on his chest. He's holding an acorn, and then the big yellow flower in the corner, I started on that. But I only worked on it for 25 minutes, so there wasn't a lot of time for me to get much done, but 25 minutes is better than nothing. I have since added DMC 581 to my shopping list, so I can get started next time. The next one, which isn't technically a current WIP, is A Prairie Year by the Prairie Schooler. I don't have any squares going at the moment, but I do have the 4th of July block done, the turkey block done, and the schoolhouse block. Wait, what did I say? Schoolhouse block over here. Schoolhouse, turkey, and 4th of July. I am missing, like, I have this little bag full of all of the floss that's in this chart. I am missing one of the pieces of fabric, and I have a feeling that I did do the Santa block and put it somewhere else. So it's around here somewhere. I have plans to clean this room that I'm sitting in and get everything all organized and find all of my finished projects so that way I can start getting them ready for display, because I have a ton finished. Okay, next one is Memorial Day by Hands On Design, and this is stitched on 28 count white Monaco, and I made some progress. I do not think I stitched on it this year, or well, in 2023. I can't remember if I did or not. Maybe for Christmas in July stitching, but I don't remember if I did that or not. And I am using the called for DMC conversion that's listed on the chart. Most of the time I use the DMC, and most of the time I stitch on 28 count Monaco. Okay, this is a chart that I got off of Etsy because it came across my feed and it was like $2. And I said, oh my gosh, I just have to have it. And it's a dinosaur. If I have room on my phone to add photos, I will, because this is adorable. And it's just the bottom of the dinosaur. It's a T-Rex. And it says something about the dinosaurs didn't fill in the blank and look what happened to them, or something to the effect. And there's flowers on it and all. This is 28 count Lugana. It's hand dyed, but I don't know what color. And this it uses DMC, so I'm using the called for DMC. Okay, this is Busy Spring by Cottage Garden Samplings. This was on my WIP Go last year for my new starts, so I only have 500 stitches. I found that I don't have all of the fabric for the, or floss for this either, so it took me a little while to get started because I needed to figure out what I could stitch, and I was able to get this much. This is on 18 count antique white Ada, and I'm just using the DMC. Is it? Yep, it just uses DMC. And one General Arts, but I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use DMC. And I have since put the floss I needed on my shopping list. So I'm going to do that every time I pick up a chart and I'm missing the floss. I'm going to add it to my list so that way the next time it comes up in the rotation, I will have it. Okay, this is a big one. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it all in frame. This is Heart Silhouette by Charting Creations. It's a freebie on their Facebook group. I'm stitching out on 28 count Lugana. I hope you were able to get the gist of that. This is 20 count Lugana, and I'm stitching over 2, so it's technically 10 count. I didn't realize it, like I just started without even thinking. I should have done 2 strands over 1, fabric thread, but like I said, I just got in routine and just started. I do like the way that it looks though, so we'll see how it ends up. Okay, next up is, oops, this one was open already. What is this? Okay, this is Smell My Feet by La Di Da. This is a freebie, I believe, on her website. I just got sticky somehow. I have no... Anyway, this was one of my WIP Go pieces as well. And I did stitch on this for 12 by 12. And what I did is put in the toe of the shoe. There's still a little bit more to be done. And then 1 strand into the border. And this is on 18 count hand-dyed fabric, but I don't have the tag for this one either. I don't know what happens to all of my tags. They just disappear. Hopefully that will take about 2 to 3 more sessions doing 500, so about 1,500 stitches, and I'll have that done. And that is not on my WIP Go board for this year, but if I finish my WIP Go pieces and finish all of my other goals for the month, then I contemplate, you know, what project is next. This one is Holly Tree Farm by Stitching with the Housewives. This is in what I call the Christmas Tree Farm series because there's 4 of them. Farm Fresh Balsam, Bringing Home the Tree, Fraser Fir, and then the Holly Tree Farm. So I'm almost finished. These trees are all over, and then I just have to finish the top of the barn and it's done. I think there's a couple snowflakes around too, but I mean, it's probably 2 hours or less and I would have that. Well, maybe more than 2 hours, but a good stitching day. Well, maybe 2, we'll have that finished. So all of these small ones are going to be on the schedule if I finish my goals for the month. Those were on 28 count Black Monaco. This is from Stitching with the Housewives as well, and this is Honey Bee. It's from the What's in My Cup series. This one I'm almost finished with as well. There's just some flowers and some bees all the way around, and then the back stitching. I do have a couple of stitches on the bee skeps on the bottom. I ran out of floss. So if I counted correctly, I have 47 WIPs right now, and maybe 48. And I would like to get that down some. So my goal is to finish as many as possible. However, meeting my WIP Go and my full coverage goals at the same time. Oh, yes, on Christmas Day, when I opened my fabric and all of the festivities were over, I promptly started my Ruth Bader Ginsburg chart that was on my WIP Go for 2023, but I had stolen the fabric from it for a different project, so I didn't have anything to start it on. So since they bought me fabric, I got started. I threw it on a new Q-snap and got right started, and I am just about 50% finished with this. It's the silhouette of her face, and it says, "Speak your mind even if your voice shakes." This is on 18 count white Aida with just DMC 310. So I will get back to that too. It's actually, because it's one color, you have to count a lot to get the letters in there, but you can, it flies. I worked on it for 3 days and I'm 50% finished. Okay, this is Narnia, I don't know the actual name of it. I call it Narnia, but it could be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by the Stitching Book Club. And this was a stitch along. I don't even know when. This was on my 12 by 12 as well. So this is my overall progress so far. This is on 28 count white Monaco. I stitched the tree trunks and above, and then this blob and this blob. And that's it. This one has a lot of color changes, so it really eats up the time. It's not my favorite project, but it will get done. If I just stitch on it for an hour or 2 at a time, or 500 stitches at a time, it will get done. Okay, this is George Decorates for Martha. This one took me a while because the house is pretty large, and I did run out of floss. Well, I have one more strand. I did go and buy another skein, so I could complete all of the pumpkins and things. This is on 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed. And as you can see, I did make it to the other side of the house. Just a couple of stitches to go. I have one strand of floss floating around somewhere in my bag. And I didn't have Oscar before either. Oscar is the color that's used in all of these big leaves. And I wanted to use the overdyed because I thought that it would show, I don't know, I just thought it would be really good for the green leaves. There are other colored leaves on this side of the chart, but I just really thought that with all of the green leaves over here, it was going to look really nice. But since I haven't started any of the leaves yet, I have time to decide if I'm going to do anything different. But this particular chart, I did want some of the overdyes. So it's in the roof and in Martha's dress, and then it will be in the leaves. Okay, this is, I believe, this is Buffalo Plaid Summer by Stitching with the Housewives, and it's in one of the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazines. I did work on this in 2023, so I did get some more progress. And I'm actually, let's see, let's open that back up again. I should put a little flag on it so it's easier. So I started on the flower in this corner. I worked more on the border, and I have all the lettering done over this way. So, and the gray part of the border is almost all the way to the corner. So I'm almost 3/4 of the way with the border. I have the lettering done, so I need to do the bee scup, the bees, and the flowers. Actually, let's see. Actually, the flower on the right-hand side is completed. So I have one more flower to go. So a couple more sessions with this one as well. When I first started stitching, I would stitch on 1 or maybe 2 projects until they were completed. And now, of course, I jump around like crazy because I do tend to get bored, and I'm like that with my crochet and knit projects too. And that's how I end up with so many WIPs. But when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, so I just took it nice and easy. Okay, this one is a digital pattern as well. Well, I have it on my iPad. This is on 28 count Monaco, black Monaco. This is Stars and Stripes. Seasons in Chalk, Stars and Stripes by Kathy Haberman at Hands On Design. And I stitched on it once this year, and I think I got that star, and then this flower started right here, these 2 petals. And I am using the called for DMC conversion. And if you ever have any questions about my projects and what I'm using, if I didn't explain myself well enough, which tends to happen, just send me an email or connect with me on Instagram. That information will be in the description box below, and I'll let you know. Okay, this is Witching Hour by the Prairie Schooler. So so far, if you haven't figured out that I like the Prairie Schooler and Stitching on Monaco, you haven't been paying attention. And that's just a jest, because those are my favorites. Okay, I am using DMC on this one because that's what she calls for. However, in her Halloween charts, usually she's, instead of DMC 310, she uses 3371, and I swap it for 310. That's the only change that I usually make with Prairie Schoolers at all. I have all the floss and the fabric in here because there are 2 ornaments that go with this one. She usually includes ornaments, and so I have it all together. And I do that when I kit up a project, so that way the fabric for the entire booklet is the same. So here's my overall progress. Last time I worked on it, I worked on the house, and I think I put a strand of floss in the tree on the left side. And this is on 28 count Monaco as well. I believe it's off-white or antique, must be antique white. It doesn't look as yellow as some of the other antique white that I have though, so I don't know why that is, but it looks more creamy. Okay, where are we at? Oh, Witching Hour was on WIP Go. So I transitioned from the pieces that do not have current plans and then into WIP Go. So Witching Hour is on WIP Go. Yep, that's project number 25. And I just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go across. I don't jumble my numbers up because they're already going to be jumbled. And I don't give myself prizes for finishing because and no offense against anybody else, I just think that's silly. I'm just using WIP Go so that way I can get some progress in some of the WIPs that I probably wouldn't touch throughout the year. I don't need to give myself prizes. I get spending money every month, and that's how I get my stuff. So January by the Prairie Schooler is project number 24. This also was on my 12 by 12 list, and I actually got to work on it. So I got one strand in because this was the 8 p.m. project, and I was exhausted and I went to bed. So I put one strand of floss in the bottom border, and that was it. And I am missing, there's a little kid on the sled, and as you can see, he's not finished, and it's because I don't have that floss. I thought that I had all the flosses for this, and I didn't. So I do not have it on my shopping list right now, so I'm going to have to remember, because when this comes up on my WIP Go, I would like to get that kid done. And that color actually is, there's a lot on that medium size piece. I got the little ornament done already. Now I'm working on the medium, and then I'll do the big last. Okay, project 23 is my very first Mill Hill kit, and it's Mary. I also have Joseph. He's not started yet, and baby Jesus is on order. This is the progress that I have so far. I think I put in 2 strands. And I don't like the way that my stitches look, but then when I was looking at the picture, I noticed that they're really not that different than the stitches that are shown here in the model. So I think that's the back. Oh, that is the front. That is the front. And of course, I'm using the floss that came in the kit. So that was project 23. 22 is Starry Night. I did work on this during 12 by 12. It was on my plans. It's by Prairie Schooler. I'm stitching it on 18 count oatmeal Aida. And I only have 2 left. I have this Wise Men on the camel, and then I have this angel one up here. I ran out of Krynic and couldn't get it for over a year, so it took a lot of time. So the angel, I have some back stitching in the city, and then I have all the Krynic to do, and her wing is actually back stitched. Yeah, her wings are back stitched, and then the rest is Krynic, like her halo and half of her dress, the bottom half of her dress. Oh, she's holding a banner that says Noel, so that has to be back stitched as well. And then the Wise Man, I don't know if this is going to come through because these are small. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but I stitched the Star of David there in the new Krynic. And then all this down here is in the old Krynic. And even though the numbers match exactly on the spools, I have the exact product I'm supposed to have. The golds aren't the same. Half of his headdress was finished, and I had to take it out because the colors weren't going to match. So it is what it is. I waited a year for it, and I don't know what happened, but I don't want to wait any longer. I want to get these done. I worked on it. I ended up working on it for only about a half an hour or so because I had to rip out that section. And I got the star done and the 4 crosses and the back stitching in the star. And then I started stitching what I ripped out. So I didn't feel that that was too bad for a half an hour. So I know it's doable to get done in the future by just a couple of sittings. Okay, project 21 is Joy in the Journey, a Jan Lynn kit. This really reminds me of, it doesn't say it on here, but it reminds me of Little House Needleworks. I don't see it listed anywhere who the designer is, but that's what it reminds me of. This was on my WIP Go, so I only have 500 stitches. I started in the center for some reason and put that dividing line in, and then I put the other things in around it. That's upside down. It goes this way. Huh. And this is on the 14 count Aida that it came with, and I'm using the called for, or the floss that came in the kit as well. There's no need for me to switch things up. Okay, so that one was 21. 20 Sorry, I have everything in a box over here and they keep sliding and I have to reach over to get them. I'm out of space in this room. 20 is Seasons in Chalk Winter. And this one I have hard copy here. And I did run out of, I think it's Blanc. So I got put on hold. Then I got more Blanc and it came up on the wheel or whatever I was doing at the time. So I put in the R in Winter. This is stitched on 28 count Monaco with the DMC conversion listed on the chart. Yeah, I put in the R. And that was a lot of stitching actually. I don't know how many I think I put in 500 stitches. The R is not even complete, but it will get there next time. And if every letter is 500 stitches, it would take me another 5 sittings just to get the word winter done. And that's not even including the little cottage and snowman, the snowflakes, the swirls, and the border. There's a lot in that one. Okay, this is Folk Art Christmas from Artisy, and this was what I was working on in December when I wasn't working on the snowflakes for my coworkers. So I was working up here. I ran out of 890, so I was working with the colors that I did have, and I am just about 73% done, I think. This is on 18 count Ada, off-white, antique white, I don't know. Some of these fabrics I actually received as a gift from someone, and they weren't marked or anything, so I just measure it, see if it's big enough, and off I go. Oops, I didn't put the book back. Let's put the book back. So that was Folk Art Christmas. I don't know. Project 19 was Folk Art Christmas. Number 18 is Into the Jungle by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is a project that was given to me off of an Unloading Facebook group. She was stitching it with the called for DMC and she said it was the called for fabric, but I didn't ever take a look to see what that fabric was. I do believe that it's Lugana. It feels like it when I'm stitching on it. She has almost all of the blocks finished. I think there's 3 more, and then I think the bats have a couple more stitches that need to be put in. All of the border around the different boxes were not put in. I put those in, and then the top section and the bottom section need to be put in. Like I said, if I have room on my phone, I will enter photos for the electronic charts that I have. And this is just using DMC, which is pretty handy. I think that's all Pumpkin's Stitchery, Frosted Pumpkin uses. So. Okay, number 17 is Lady of the Flag. I'm not gonna lie, I know some people don't like wrinkles, but this is very wrinkled because I was very bad and left it on the Q-snap on the stitching frame that I made. And so it's very wrinkly. This is using the 30 count We the People fabric from the Primitive Hair. I don't like it, which is fine. I am using the teal conversion because my daughter said that she wanted her to look like the Statue of Liberty. So this is what I have done so far. Most of the, I don't know if you can see them on camera, but if there's little spaces in the dress, that's where the beads go. I am almost done with the red and the white portions of the flag, and I'm moving up to the blue section. So let me fold this really quickly, and maybe it will calm it down while it's in the bag. I'm going to let it relax for a while off of the frame. Oh, I should show you the cover photo. Well, that was my progress. This is what she looks like. Creams and golds is what she's supposed to look like. I lost my words. Okay. And I will be converting the bead colors over too to match the dress, because the called for beads match the charted dress. So where are we at? 16. This is Liberty Games by Erica Michaels. I don't have all of the floss for this either. I think I'm missing a couple just because I only needed, you don't have to kit all of it up. You just need to kit where you're going to be stitching so you can get stitching. And I subbed one of the reds out. It called for Weeks Dye Works Raspberry, and it was too pink for my liking. So I switched it. So now I have to go back to the store and see what goes with what I picked. And this is my progress. This is, I believe it's 32 count. I think I bought 32. Oh, you know what? It might be 36 count because I think it calls for 36 and I think I got 36. It is, but regardless, it's Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart. And then I put in the letters, and the letters are back stitched, like the little blocks. They're back stitched. So that's going to have to wait till last because I know that I will just mess it up completely. I'll mess up my back stitching if I put it in as I go. And the letters actually go pretty quickly, so that's kind of fun. You can put in a couple letters and then move on. Number 15. My projects keep falling. 15 is Legendary Girls. This is by Tumbleweeds, which is a division of Little House Needleworks. This was on my WIP Go, so I only have 500 stitches. It's on 28 count Monaco with the called for DMC conversion. Wait, does it have a DMC? I don't know. It's on the inside. I think it's the call. I think they did a conversion. And so this is what I have so far on 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed myself. I like this one. I liked it from the second that I saw it, and I will probably frame it up pretty quickly when I get it done. Okay. This is Words to Live By. Oh, Legendary Girls was on my 12 by 12, but I didn't get to it. Okay, Words to Live by Tiny Modernist. I believe this is 16 count Black Ada, and it's quite large as well, and I hope that you're going to be able to see it. I have 4 of the blocks finished, and then I started on 2 others. This one over here, and then the big one in the center. Big project. But each block really only takes a couple of days, so if I just worked on it every once in a while, I'd get it done. I haven't worked on this one in quite a while. I don't know why. It's easy. 13 is Happy Fall by Tiana Handmade. She's a Ukrainian designer on Etsy. She also does handmade jewelry and some things. Some of them are even stitched pieces that she turns into jewelry. So you should check her out. It's 3 pumpkins, and then it says Happy Fall underneath of the pumpkins. They're watercolor. This is another one that I need to get a couple more flosses. I don't have very many. I think I stitched on this a total of 2 times. Maybe 3. So I have at least 1,000 stitches done. This is on 18 count Oatmeal Ada with the called for DMC, which there's a lot of colors in that. Happy Fall. Beatitudes by Little House Needleworks. This chart was given to me off of a Facebook group, and it's a big one. It's a big one. And Beatitudes comes from Matthew 5, in case you were wondering. This is on 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed myself. Since this is on paper, I have no idea how far I am, but this is where I got to. I made a mistake one of the last times that I worked on it, so I had to spend a lot of time ripping out my mistake and then putting it back in correctly. So that's where I'm at. There's a couple of the flosses in here that I am using the called for hand dyeds or over dyeds, but then the rest of it I'm just using the DMC. Yeah. You know what? I think I'm actually using all hand dyed, not looking at it. Yeah, I think so. I should put the chart back in. I think the words are hickory stick and the green is weeping willow. And I don't remember any of the others. Liberty Eagle is number 11. This is by Blackbird. I had run out of the brown color, which is DMC 801, so I had to wait and get some more, but I have it and I got started on it again. It's on 30 count linen. I don't know what color because it's in that shipment that I was given. And this is my starting point for whenever I pick it up next. I have floss hanging. I was thinking about this section in the center of his chest has the alphabet stitched 1 over 1, and I thought that I could I have lots of fabric left. I was thinking that I could stitch like God Bless America or God Bless the USA or something if there's enough room. I will leave that for last so that way I can think about it and have time to chart it out. Or just go with the alphabet. I don't know. All right. And that 30 count, that might be a little tricky to do 1 over 1 stitching. I can do it though. I've done it on a different project. On it was a gobble. It was a Thanksgiving project. This is Vintage Animals by Jeanette Douglas. I am using 28 count Dove Gray Monaco. No coffee tea dye on this one. And I thought it would look really good with the colors that she stitched this with. And in my opinion, I was right. Some people may not agree with me. They may have liked the linen, the mottled look of the linen. But I like this. I am missing 2 colors, and this is the color that goes in the center of the petals. I'm missing that. I thought I had it and I can't find it anywhere. And then there's a green color that when she converted it over to DMC, it's not her fault at all, I don't think. I think it just happened because of the overdyes that she used. They didn't convert very well, and my greens were basically exactly the same. So I just need to find a green that will go with the rest of the colors. She does use blends when she converts to DMC. I don't like the look of blends, so I'm just choosing one of those colors and just going with it. This is project number 9. It's Crossword by Long Dog Samplers, and it's a crossword style project. I have all 3 of theirs, but only 1 started. And this is my progress so far. I'm using DMC 915. I actually used 915 for Pandemic in 2021 when I stitched that by Long Dog. And so I figured since I had so much left over off of the cone, I would stitch this. And then in the other, the companion piece to it, I figured I would stitch the negative. So instead of stitching what they charted, I would stitch the background, if that makes any sense. It might when I show you. And again, if I have room on my phone, if I have enough storage, I will add photos of the projects. This is Halloween Mystery Sampler. It's from a group on Facebook. I don't even know if the group is still active. This was on my WIP Go, and I got 500 stitches. This is on a piece of fabric. I don't know the name of it. It's the same fabric that Smell My Feet was on. I just cut the extra off. And it's 18 count, but the stitches are pretty small. And I'm just using the called for DMC, I believe. And if I'm not using the called for, then I just chose a color that was close to what they charted it. And it's a green, orange, yellow, purple, and black. This one is Lady Liberty by Kesslins. I'm stitching in this on 28 count white Monaco 1/1. It was, the model was stitched on 25 count white Lugana 1/1 with Gloriana silks. My local needle workshop only carries a couple of Glorianas, if that. So I chose Blacksmith Blue and Ribbon Red by Classic Colorworks. I got a couple of skeins of each, and I think I will have lots left over. I tried to convert it because Gloriana's, you know, it's like I think it's 12 strands and it's in a different yardage, and so I tried, but it's all right. I'm better to have too much than not enough because of dye lots and such. So here is the wing so far in the blue. Some of my stars are not perfectly matching the chart, but that's okay. And I like to stitch from the bottom up. There was no spot for me to start from the bottom up, so I just turned the chart upside down and started that way. And as long as you just keep stitching that way, then everything will be just fine. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're getting there. Halloween freebie. I call this one Halloween freebie, and it's from Charting Creations. It's on their Facebook group. This is using another fantastic overdyed fabric that I have no idea what it's called. It says it's, I know when I bought it, it said it was 18 count, but the stitches are extremely small. Extremely small. If I had a ruler right here, I'd take a moment and measure. I'll try to remember that next time I work on this. I think I have about 1,500 stitches in here. It was on my WIP go for a start, but then I worked on it while my father-in-law was in the hospital. I went to visit, and since I couldn't do anything while we were visiting with him, I stitched. And he actually said, "What are you up to? What are you doing?" He asked me about it. It distracted him for a few minutes. Alice in Wonderland, Sal, by Owl Forest Embroidery, is project number 5 on my WIP Go board for 2024. I have a couple of sections done, and then I fell off the wagon. I believe it came out in 2021, and I was also stitching on pandemic, and it was just too much for me to handle, so I had to abandon something. This is 18 count Ada that I coffee tea dyed, and that's my progress here. Last 2 times I stitched on it, I was working on the cat. He is huge. I'm almost finished. I'm stitching the white, and then I stitched them wrong too, but whatever. He's missing 1 row. So I have to put in his feet and the rest of his stripes, and he will finally be finished. I guess he gets eyes too. I think next time I work on it, though, I'll work on something else, because I literally worked on him for 3 sessions. Like 3 wheel spins, which is at least 500 stitches a piece. So, whew. Okay, this is from Stitch Area, and it's the Office themed, like the TV show The Office, the American version. This is on a piece of that Lugana that I don't know what the name of it is, and this is my progress so far. It's kind of fun to stitch on because each little thing only takes a little while. Well, this took a while, and the tuna fish took a while. It says big tuna. And this will be finished round. It's round. I think they finish it in a 14-inch hoop, 12-inch hoop. I don't know what. I don't use hoops, so I'm not familiar with how big they are. And I'm just using the DMC that she charted it with, because she did a good job on choosing her colors. So I'm good with that. Okay, The Office, Queen Bee. This is let's see, this is Cottage Garden, or Cottage. It's from the All Dolled Up series by Little House. I thought it was the other one, but it's Little House. And that picture is small, so I hope that you can see it. I'm stitching this on, I bet you can guess, 28 count Monaco. I have 500 stitches in, and that's how far I got. I think I'm missing one of the colors. It only calls for 6, but I think I'm missing one. But this shouldn't take that much longer, maybe 1,500 more stitches, and I'll have this one done too. So like I said, if I finish my goals for the month, I will pick up something that I think I can finish really quickly, or however many days that's left in the month. So if I finish on January 20th, then I have 11 days left, so I'll pick something up that I know I can finish in that time frame. Okay, this is Stars and Stripes by the Prairie Schooler. I'm doing this for my daughter. I'm putting 2 ornaments on 1 piece of fabric, so there will be 4 sets. I finished Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Now I'm working on the whale and the ship. This did come up on my 12 by 12. I finished the stitching, that cross stitching in the whale. I had the 2 stars in the corners, the star stitches in the flag, and his teeth. And then I did this little bit of brown on the ship. And this is on 28 count Monaco, and I think this is ivory. It's yellow. It definitely has a yellow undertone to it. So I'm nearing 50% complete with the entire project. This is I'm calling it 3 Wise Men. I don't know if that's the actual name of it. This is a little kit that I got off of one of those D-Stash groups. They sent it to me for free because they didn't want it anymore and they wanted someone to stitch it. It's Designs for the Needle, and it's called 3 Wise Men. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's pretty dark because it's done on black Ada. And she did send me what she had started, but I was having a hard time making heads or tails of where she was at and what was going on, so I restarted it. And this is where this is what I was working on December as well. I was like, I didn't sit there and do nothing. What did I do for the month? So once I got this in the mail, I started this. So let's see. I have the green done. I have the tan done for Bethlehem, the purple, the light blue, and now I'm working on the medium blue, and then there's a dark blue above it. Full cross stitches, and then another row of dark blue in half stitch, just like the grass is half stitch. So that one, doing it on black, and the black that I have, the black Ada, is low quality. I got it off of Amazon, so just beware that if you're going to get fabric off of Amazon, it's not near, and I'm not saying all fabric, but the fabric that I got off of Amazon, the quality was nowhere near what you can get elsewhere. So that's all of my WIP Go pieces, 25 projects. Now I have full coverage that I will be focusing on. I have 4 full coverage pieces going so far. Lord help me. I don't like color changes, so you know that I'm a crazy person if I'm doing this, but this one I call Flag, and it's from Tiana Handmade. She's the designer in the Ukraine. I do not have all of the colors, and I need to get some more, but I think I have about 1,500 stitches in, and so I will focus on this. I don't know my exact plan for my full coverages except for my Super Mario World 1. But this is on 18 count antique white Ada, and it's a watercolor. So there's lots of colors, and they're going to blend together very beautifully. So that's full coverage number 1. Full coverage number 2. I believe this is, yes, this is Super Mario Brothers 3 map 8. I don't know what map 8. I think there's 2 or 3 maps for World 8. I do have, I'm trying to park and work on a diagonal because I thought that it would help my stitches lay better. So I do have some threads. There's 3 colors in the background of this one, where the other one there's only 2. 307 stitches, and that's what this looks like on 18 count Sand by Zweigart. My husband asked me, well, why aren't you using the same color fabric as you're using on the other one? And I said, well, because on the other one, it's antique white, so it's kind of a creamy color, and the background stitches, the sand is 3820 and 3855 maybe. It's a yellow, so I don't know if I have my number right. So it went better with the antique white. These are browns, and I don't know the exact colors, but these are browns, and I just thought that the sand would help. So if I had a stitch or 2 or thousands that didn't have the greatest coverage, that I didn't have white fabric showing through, I had the sand color fabric showing through. That was my thought process. And then they also got me for Christmas a piece of 18 count, and I don't know exactly what color it is, but like it's a light blue, and that's for the world where they're swimming. So that way when you put the water in, then you have a blue showing through instead of white. So there was a method to my madness when I chose my fabric pieces, and I think there's 10 or 12 charts in that series, and I have them all because it came as a bundle. I do not think that I'll make them all, but I also didn't know that I was going to make more than one, and here I am, 2 on the go. Okay, somewhere along the lines, I got really, really crazy. And this is Middle Earth map, and it's from Lord of the Rings. It's the map of the world. And I think I have 186 stitches on the 18 count off antique white Aida. And I'm going to show you how big this fabric is. And I think I put 3-inch, whatever border this is on the side here, I put it all the way around. So just imagine that. On 18 count, I don't even know if you can see the whole thing, but it is huge. For me, it's huge. There's 297,000, like 700 stitches. It's almost, I can't even get this folded back up. So I'm just going to set it down and fold it when I finish the video. So then there's Middle Earth map. I'm stitching that one for my husband. It will get done when it gets done. But my main focus for the year, I have a needle here, that's fun, is Super Mario Brothers 3 World 1. It's called Grasslands. And I put in 1,400 stitches so far this year, which 2024. I am 35% finished, 36% finished. So I was working on these things here, filling in the sand down here, putting in the border here for more cactus, just all kinds of good stuff. I am almost at the point though where I'm done with this and I want to move on to another project. So thankfully I have less than 400 stitches to go to meet my goal of 1841 each month. There is a little bit more over here too, but I wanted to work here. So I put the Q-snap as far over as I could. But next time you see this, there will be another 400 stitches done and I will be moved on to something else. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited to get it done and get it framed. Also in December, I used Lindy Stitches on YouTube. She's a designer. I think her name is Stephanie, but her design company is Lindy Stitches. She has a video on how to lace your cross stitch. So I watched that and I laced 2 projects that I gave to people for Christmas. If I can, I'll put pictures in here. If I can't, come on over to my Instagram and I'll have them there. I'll post them there because now that the gifts have been given, I can post. So I laced Shepherd's Why This Jubilee. I designed that myself and stitched it on 28 count Monaco. The red is 816, I believe it's Etoile, DMC Etoile, and then the black is DMC 310. And then the other one is Little Quaker Christmas by Susan Aker. I hope I said that name right. She's with Aurifil, and I stitched that on 14 count Aida, and both of them are in 8x10 frames that I got off of Amazon. They came as a 2-pack, and I was super excited that I was able to use both frames and give 2 gifts. Okay, so I believe that's enough for today. This video is longer than any other video I've ever posted, and that's enough for today. I hope that you enjoyed walking down memory lane to see what I have going on. We'll talk about all of the things, catch up on the goals and knitting and crochet projects when I come back next time. I don't think I'll do a WIP parade because I really don't have a ton of things going on, but I am going to work on them as well. So in this video, I do hope that you found something to inspire you to either pick up a languishing WIP or maybe to even try something new, especially if this is the first or maybe the second or third cross stitch video that you've seen. I hope maybe you'll give it a try. I thank you all again for stopping by and joining my video, and I will see you in about 2 weeks. Bye.